I'm going to give you guys a quick show update. If you've already heard this update, just hit the skip ahead button a few times. But for those of you that don't know, over a week ago, I announced that Friday, May 23rd would be my last day at Chat Sports. And that has slightly changed. So here's what happened. Last weekend, my bosses approached me about coming on as a part-time contributor more or less when I returned from my honeymoon in the middle of June. And I felt like it was a win-win-win. Chat Sports has some coverage on the channel while they look for a new host, because I still am going to leave altogether at some point. And I get to hang out with you guys for another month, and you guys get content for a month while they search for a new host. So I'm still leaving Chat Sports. Friday, May 23rd is my last day, or was my last day in the office. But when I come back in the middle of June, I will start doing some at-home videos for 4 or 5 times a week for about 4 weeks. So now let's get into today's episode and the reason why you clicked onto it, which is we have some rookie predictions from ESPN. Mike Clay over in Bristol cooked up some stat predictions for top rookies in different statistical categories, and the Falcons were included in one notable one, which is rookie sacks. And Jalon Walker is tied for first with Abdul Carter, top 5 draft pick by the New York Giants, Mykel Williams, 11th overall pick, 4 spots before Walker by the San Francisco 49ers. And James Pearce comes in at 5 sacks, tied for 4th with Shemar Stewart. So 2 Falcons, which somewhat expected given that both were taken in round 1, are, in ESPN Mike Clay's eyes, going to finish top 5 in sacks for 2025 amongst all rookies. 6 sacks and 5 sacks may not jump out to you. I don't want to say what I do for that, but I do some bad things for that. We're talking about a Falcons pass rush that is dead last in sacks over the past 4 seasons combined. If 2 rookies in year 1 can show me something more than 1 to 2 or 3 sacks, I'm all in. Just stop talking and tell me where to sign. 5 or 6 sacks may not sound like a lot, but let me show you how that would compare to previous years. So Mike Clay has 5 players from this draft class getting 5 or more sacks as a rookie. That's 2 more than last year. That ties 2023. That's 4 more than 2020 when only Chase Young accomplished that. So while that may not seem overly impressive to you, that is tying an NFL record over the last near decade at this point. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. And while 5 sacks doesn't seem like a lot, you don't find usually a ton of production from rookie pass rushers. Look at the last couple of guys who get 8 or more sacks as a rookie. I mean, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, they've led the rookie class in sacks the past 3 years, and they didn't even get to 10. Only Micah Parsons has done that. I think the last guy before him was maybe Von Miller, someone in between. We've done this graphic before, and I can't remember right now. But as for where this ranks, like the Falcons, they've not had anywhere near this level of success since, I mean, forget when iPhone, like the internet. The last time in Atlanta, like there was, this show would have been in a newspaper. The last time an Atlanta Falcon rookie got anywhere near 6.5 sacks. 1970. That's how long it's been. Look at the last 25 years. Takk McKinley at 6 sacks in 2017 is the best I can offer you from a rookie getting to the quarterback. So Jalon Walker gets 6 sacks and James Pearce gets 5 sacks. Stop right there. You sold me. That is not something to feel underwhelmed over. I would love for these 2 guys to combine for 11 sacks. That would be about 25% of the production they got all of last year. Think about that for a second. Now, as for Walker getting 6 and Pearce getting 5, I'm going to flip-flop those 2. Walker, I think from a size perspective, is a little bit of a smaller edge, but I think he's got a little bit more strength than James Pearce. Pearce, from a speed perspective, outdoes everyone. But Walker at Georgia was a floater. He played off-ball linebacker. He played edge rusher. The Falcons are going to start him off at edge, and I think they'll probably work him to inside on like 3rd and long so they can get Pearce, Walker, Floyd, Ebiketie all on the field at once. I think Pearce, though, is going to have a little bit more production as a rookie because it's not going to be that as big of an adjustment for him as it will be for Walker. Now, when you dominate with speed in college like Pearce did at Tennessee, you're going to get slapped in the face early on when you realize, oh, I can't just run around everyone anymore. I could do that against the NC State tackle. Can't do that in the NFL. The tackles are cats. They are very quick, and I might be faster, and I can take advantage of that every so often, but they are going to do a lot of research on me, and they are going to have some great sets to make sure that they can neutralize my speed. So who do you think will have more sacks this upcoming season? I'm going to go with James Pearce, and I think it's James Pearce in 2025, and it could be Walker in 2028. But I'm going to let Walker ramp up a little bit. So that was one bold prediction we got from ESPN. I want to look at another rookie that was discussed as well elsewhere, and that is DBs the Atlanta Falcons found in rounds 3 and 4, Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. Now, before we look at those two players, I do want to give a big special shout out to Fanatics, who's got Jalon Walker jerseys, James Pearce jerseys, and other jerseys available when you go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. It's a great way to support the channel while also getting yourself a brand new Falcons jersey. I saw this term thrown out there describing Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. Fire and ice. I caught my attention. Click. And then when I learned why they were called fire and ice, I was like, well, this is going to make today's show. Because if I know it, you have to know it. Because it's a really cool story or a really cool nickname background. It comes from Jerry Gray, the DB coach for Atlanta. And he said, I'm calling them fire and ice. And you guys, the media, will know why once you go talk to them. And then they talked to Billy Bowman. And they said, hey, what are your expectations for your first NFL season? Here's what he said. My expectations are always to start right away. Talk about just coming out guns blazing. As a 4th-round pick, he's like, I expect to start. I'm a guy that's an alpha, and I'm sure that the other guys here are alphas too. We're going to come in, compete, make each other better. Who wants to guess which one is fire and which one is ice? You might look at that as, oh, he's a little cocky. I fucking love it. This is the National Football League. I want the most competitive of the most competitive on my team. If you don't believe you can start, get off the team. Unless you're Kirk Cousins, because then I need you to back up Michael Penix. All right? But everyone else, if there's competition constantly. I don't love the idea of a rookie going in there going, yeah, I know my place. Happy to be a 3rd-string practice squad guy. Screw that. If that's your mentality, you're not going to make it. I love that competitive energy. Now, here's where the ice comes in. Xavier Watts. I'm not really expecting anything. I'm just trusting my teammates and coaches, and we'll see what happens. Talk about a laissez-faire type of approach, which is fine. I'm not shaming that at all. If Xavier Watts came out and said, yeah, I think I'll probably be a backup for a few years, that's pussy shit. Don't want anything to do with that. It's all right. You don't have to come out and say, I expect to start. That's a bit ambitious, right? You don't want to, write checks you can't cash. But I like the idea of the Atlanta Falcons with Bowman and Watts getting a little bit of fire and ice going in that locker room. And then as for the field, listen, right now Bowman's going to compete with Alford and Phillips for that nickel spot. And Watts is going to compete with Jordan Fuller and DeMarco Helms for that other safety starting spot. I can't guarantee that both are going to start week 1. In fact, I don't think both are going to start week 1 or even either one, but both of them will be starting at some point in 2025. Bowman showed some great coverage skills at Oklahoma, along with elite ball skills. And then Watts, all he did was, lead the country in interceptions the past 2 years with 13 altogether. Yeah, I think the Falcons found some good gems there. I mean, there's a cool story that came out of this from, I think it was Josh Kendall at The Athletic, who said that Atlanta was happy to take Watts at pick 46 in round 2. So when he kept sliding and falling and sliding and falling, there's Atlanta at 101. They gave up a future 5th to move up to get him because they were afraid the Raiders, 3 picks before them, were going to take Watts. And I bet the Raiders wish he was there. So I love both these selections for Atlanta. Right now, everyone's kind of just drinking the Kool-Aid on all their team's draft picks, but I'm being genuine with you when I say I like this a lot. All right, let's pick a super chatter from our live show, which was our final live on Thursday. So here we go. 2 claps going to, looking good for Robert. Robert, shout out to you, man. 2 claps, everyone. 1, 2. All right. We'll see everyone later.